Damien, I'm so excited to be here and get a glimpse for the first time of where the land meets the sea. Can you tell me about these three series of works that you've made?
Yes, I brought together these three bodies of works, the coast paintings, the sea paintings and the seascapes. I kind of have always envisaged showing all three of them together. The first ones that I made were the coast paintings, and they're all named after British coastal towns. Well, what's great about them is the accidental things, but then I found I'm sort of trying to cheat and create accidental things. They started their life on the floor in my studio when I was doing the cherry blossoms. While I was painting the cherry blossoms, I was looking at how amazing the floor looked. I think on my Instagram people were talking about it as well, just going, just throw the paintings away and keep the floor. And I was sort of looking at it thinking, maybe they've got a point. I stopped what I was doing and I stretched canvas all over the whole of my studio floor and painted it grey to sort of feel a bit like skies around the seaside in Britain. I stretched them up after that and then I worked on top, throwing paint on top of them. I named them all after British coastal towns and put a postcard on the back of every one. So I got all these on eBay and bookshops. This one is Hartland Quay.
And tell me about the two series, the seascapes and the sea paintings.
I thought, well, what I should really do is, I'd do another series which were the sea paintings. So I just wanted perfect representations of the sea. I started 20 years ago trying to copy photographs and they were a disaster for about 10 years. We used airbrushes and it didn't work. But the goal was to create a perfect photograph in a painted way. And a lot of people have said to me, why would you spend a year and a half trying to recreate something that you can capture with a camera in less than a second? And I'm like, yeah, well, that's the point. A lot of people think that the point of art is to sort of recreate life perfectly. Where I grew up in Leeds, a lot of people said to me, when you can do a painting that looks like me, then you're a proper artist. Otherwise, you're just messing around with this contemporary rubbish. So I think by painting photographs perfectly, I wanted to prove a point. The point being that, I can do this, but most of the time I don't. And if they think it is a photograph and don't see it's a painting, it's kind of failed. So you need to somehow have clues that it's a photograph. So then there were some images that I enlarged that were so big where you get this thing called photographic noise where it kind of starts to break apart digitally. You see that they're like circles, but they're actually, if you can feel them as like little squares. Yeah. Well, that's a square. It's a digital thing.
Am I right to say that you started off with two photorealistic paintings?
So I made two versions, one that I could throw paint at. That is a much more emotional recreation of a feeling of that moment. You get the paintings that create the feeling of the sea, and then you get the paintings that are a photograph of the sea, and then you mix that together in the seascapes. So I think that was the idea really, to tell that whole story in three series of work. Yeah, but these are the ones I think, these look great outside from the street.
When Where the Land Meets the Sea opens up at Phillips, it'll really be the first time for anyone to see this series.
I've always sort of imagined it as one show, so I was just looking for a space where I could just make them look great. But it's a beautiful space, huge ceiling. I have all the auction houses, it's got an existence, you don't need to walk in to interact with it, which I really like. That should be in the window.
This one is like,
yeah, let's get that.
Yeah, it's wonderful how we play with the outside and the inside in that space. We look very much forward to having you there for the summer month.